back, Tri-State Sports guys. Let's do some NFL.
Yeah.
We're 7 weeks in.
Yeah.
It's almost halfway there. It's a decent gauge in what's going on in NFL.
Yeah.
It's been a decent season, I think.
Oh, I think it's been a super exciting season. I think you see a lot of resurgent teams that haven't been good in a while. You still have the dominant teams that you thought were going to be good, like the Patriots and the Packers.
Yep.
Well, of the teams that are doing well, that got out to the hot start, who's a surprise, but also who's a pretender?
Go
ahead. Give me who you're surprised.
I'll tell you. I surprise is probably a little strong. I think the Giants are playing better than I thought they would. They had so many injuries. Mm-hmm. They still have a lot of injuries. But
they haven't beat a team that's over 500 yet.
I know.
So they haven't.
We're gonna look back 7 weeks from now, and they could go
right.
2-5.
I'm with you in that I'm surprised at how well they're playing.
Because they have so many injuries. There's so many key players.
I'm not as surprised at their record. Like we talked about the Jets, before. I'm not as surprised at their record being what it is, and they're probably gonna be 5-2 after this week. But I'm surprised. I admitted it last week. I'm surprised at how well Eli Manning's playing. I'm surprised at how well, even though they've had the injuries on the defensive line, how their defensive line continues to be
dominant.
Just absolutely dominant. They have, like I said, they haven't beaten anybody that's got a 500 record yet, and their one big win was against the Eagles, and the Eagles have been bad.
I'm surprised at how
they did beat Buffalo.
Yeah,
but Buffalo will not.
They're over
finish
500. That doesn't count right now. I guess, right?
Because that's going to be a pretender team.
Buffalo's going to fade, I think. I'm surprised at
Let's
how
get it right
bad.
though. They are over 500. Just so everybody knows.
I'm surprised at how bad the Rams are.
I'm very surprised.
It's amazing how a guy like Amendola, he's a good player, but his injury seems to have derailed the whole season.
Yeah. Well, I think they thought they were going to get something more out of Mike Sims Walker when they signed him.
Yeah.
It was a decent signing when they got him. They cut him. He's been nothing.
Yeah, he's on the Jaguars.
And now he's back on the Jaguars. But I'm still surprised at how bad they're playing, and I'm surprised at how bad Bradford's been.
Yeah, but I blame that on the line and the fact that there's no good receivers.
The line wasn't good last year, and he was able to do things.
Yeah.
And they haven't been good.
I'm surprised at how good the Niners are.
That's the team.
Because they're Alex Smith is. You know what? I shouldn't say he's a zero. The Raiders have some zeros. He's a little more than a zero, but
can you? So yesterday I listened to Mike and Mike, and they actually had a legitimate text. Somebody tweeted them or whatever it was, or texted their inbox, and there was a question that they actually debated: which Harbaugh coach has the better quarterback, Flacco or Alex Smith?
Well,
first of all, there's clearly everybody would want Flacco, but the idea that's even a question now, I think it's just as much of a testament to how well Alex Smith has played. Because he doesn't turn the ball over.
That was going to be another surprise of mine. I'm surprised that the Ravens continued to have zero offense.
It's bizarre.
They have Ray Rice and Anquan Bolden.
Yeah.
That game.
And Joe Flacco, who everybody talks about, and everybody kills Sanchez here about being, it's time for him to turn the corner. Flacco actually has regressed significantly. When he came out as a rookie, you looked at this guy like this guy's going to be a star quarterback. He had a decent second year, and he's kind of regressed. Now he's in his fourth season. He's been brutal. I think we'll get back on the 49ers for a minute. We during the NFL preview, you had picked who'd you pick coming out of that division? I picked the Rams, which looks fantastic.
I don't know. I thought I picked the Rams too, but
I thought you picked somebody else. But I said I'm like a team you can't really sleep on are the 49ers because you think about all the hype that they were surrounded them last year. Remember last year there was a foregone conclusion that they were going to be. Mike Greenberg picked them to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And then they were so bad, but they lost so many of those close games early on, and then the season just got out of hand with Singletary and everything. So you knew that they had some talent. They get decent quarterback play. They got a good running attack. They got a good defense. A couple years ago they were really good. Last year they regressed, but now they're back to a good defense. And that's the only division that they got that division locked up. Nobody's going to win that division but them. They're going to run away with it. So you're looking at a good shot of because of the teams they're going to have to play in their division. They're going to have a first round bye. It's a good chance they're going to be a 2 seed. And I don't see them beating the Packers or even beating some of the teams that they could play in their division. In their conference, they are definitely a surprise team. And
Crabtree was injured and yet they're still producing.
Right.
But Vernon Davis, he's legit. He's the real deal.
Yep.
Some people thought he'd regress. And Frank Gore, as long as he's healthy, he's a top running back.
He's been good. Yeah. We talked a little bit about the Ravens just now, but the Ravens, people were talking about them. You watched the pregame show for Monday night. They're talking about the Ravens being the team of the AFC.
Well, they still have a great record, but
it just amazes you because you watch how the Jets beat the Jaguars, and nobody gave Jets any credit for that win. And and they destroyed them. And then the Jets got destroyed. But I mean, they couldn't have looked any worse against the Ravens. So if you look at that just logically, how is it possible that the Ravens, who looked so horrible against the Jets, were able to beat the the Jaguars be able to beat the Ravens, who made the Jets look just like a college team?
I think that what the Jets have going for them in comparison to the Ravens is that they have more weapons on offense. I don't care about their quarterback. Let's say their quarterbacks are a wash. The Jets just have more talent. They have Holmes. They have Burris.
Yeah, but Burris hasn't been good. But
no, but he's always a threat. You think about the other team, the Ravens. All they have is Rice.
Well, they were
and
hoping
Baldwin.
to get. They had Lee Evans, who's been hurt.
Yeah.
They were hoping to get something out of him. They had the Torrey Smith guy.
I just don't. At some point, the same thing with Sanchez. At some point, you can't blame coaches. At some point, you have to produce.
Yeah.
Flacco, Sanchez, they've shown that they're nothing more than guys who just know how to manage a team. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
You can make a nice career out of doing that.
Right.
But these guys, like you said, they were hyped to take that next level.
Right.
Goes back to my theory I had a couple weeks ago. Quarterbacks are either great, they are whatever they were when they came in. They don't just suddenly evolve into becoming great.
Yeah.
They're either great from the get-go, or they're just going to be average. And I think you're looking at guys who will be good professionals,
Yeah.
but will never be more than Brad Johnson.
Yeah, I mean, but
Decent players.
But there are plenty of NFL quarterbacks that took a while to get going. I mean, look how bad Vinny Testaverde's career started. He had some great years late in his career. Rich Gannon had some very good years late in his career. I mean, there are quarterbacks.
You're talking about guys those guys were in the league for over 10 years.
Yeah, all right, but I'm just saying. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think that when you're saying you're going to make a huge
Yeah.
step, but sometimes it does take a while to find their course.
Well, I hope for your sake that it takes less than 10 years.
Oh, he won't be there. He doesn't make a turn.
He'll be on another team. That's for sure.
Now let's talk about the Lions a little bit. Now they were a surprise team, but they were also kind of the sexy pick of the sleeper team.
Yep.
Now they've lost a couple games. You look at some of the games that they won, where they had some crazy comebacks. Are they pretenders? And are people? I mean, there were people talking about them being up there in the elite teams.
They're not an elite team.
No,
But
absolutely
I don't.
not.
But I don't want to
Look
say
at the
that.
breaks that they had to beat the
Yeah.
Cowboys.
I don't want to say that they're pretenders because you were joking saying the Bills are pretenders, which they may be. They're better than a team like the Bills. They're better than a team like the Raiders. But what happens is they had every break right. But now you got a guy like Javid Best injured. They say his season may be over.
Yeah.
Depending on what you read or believe. Stafford is always injury prone. He's a little nicked up.
Yeah, I think he's
Sue
gonna play this
hasn't
week, but yeah.
Sue
I mean,
hasn't
next
played
game.
great. I don't know about you. I haven't heard Nick Fairley's name more than
He was
3
hurt.
times.
Yeah, he was hurt to start the season,
Yeah.
and now he's playing. Yeah.
So the only guy who's playing consistently well is Megatron, and that guy's a stud.
Yeah.
So to me, as long as they have him and he stays healthy, they're still gonna have a chance to win every game
Yeah.
because they're just that good, and because he's that.
He's been
good.
on the team for that long. He's been on the team.
Well, he's like Andre Johnson on the Texans. A wide receiver is one of those positions.
Well, that's what
he
I'm
needs
saying,
so
then.
much more help, but they're good enough that they can get him the ball because their quarterback's good. But if they lose Stafford, if they lose Best, they have no shot.
Yeah. All right. Who else? Anybody else? What about the disappointing teams that you're surprised that they're doing as bad as they are? We talked about the Rams. Is there anybody else out there? Like, I'm not that surprised. We've talked about the Jets at length.
I'm
so
surprised the Jets are as bad as they are.
You're surprised they're 4-3.
Yeah.
You thought they'd be.
It's not even. It's honestly, it's not even a record thing. To be honest with you, I just feel like, and I think you would agree. Some of their wins are ugly wins. Not the way. Like maybe I just there's so much hype around their defense. You just assume their defense is gonna be locked down, and it hasn't been.
Not at all.
Now it has been at moments like it was against the Chargers. But you look at that Charger game, I'm thinking to myself, they're about to get blown out of here.
Yeah.
And then to come back and win, so all the credit in the world. But you expect the Jets almost to be like a Ravens type defense.
Yeah.
And they're not. Now maybe that's our own fault for expecting that.
Mm-hmm.
So to that extent, I'm disappointed.
What about the Colts?
I
you
can't
got?
blame the Colts. I mean, poor
Really?
Peyton Manning.
One guy is
Exactly.
it makes a team.
He's that good. He's that good. Well, also they have no running back. It'd be interesting to see.
I mean, he's not playing defense.
It'd be interesting to see Peyton Manning with no running back, to see how good he would be. Because he has had the benefit of always having a good running back.
That is a stretch.
Yeah, I
do you
mean
mean?
Joseph Adai is not the best.
No, not at all. Once they lost Edgerrin James, they have not had. I don't think you think
Adai-
Joseph Adai is a good running
I
back.
don't think he's a good
I think
running
he's
back.
I think I can name you 15 running backs.
No doubt. But the only reason I know Joseph Adai is because you have him on your fantasy team. He is a consistent guy who can do the same things Edgar and James can, just not as well.
Not,
so
and he didn't do anything as well as them.
But
and
he
at
was-
some point,
but
they
he would
thought
get
Donald
you
Brown
eight-
was going to be good
Well,
because
yeah.
he was made to look good when
he would
Manning there.
get you 80 yards. He would catch a lot of passes. Adai would, and he would score a touchdown a game. Now he's not even playing. And like I said, Donald Brown stinks.
That's what I mean.
Delone Carter. It would be interesting to see. I mean, Reggie Wayne, you don't even hear his name anymore.
No, I know.
But I know
I'm on a
this.
fantasy team.
I know this. Peyton Manning to guys like Jacob Tammy and all these other guys, and he made them look like superstars.
Right.
And now
what
you
do
don't
you think
even
their
hear
record
about
would be with Peyton Manning?
through 7. I would say 4-3.
I don't know that.
You got to remember, there were 2 games that they should have already won, even with the team they have now.
Right.
What you saw is the most exposed guy in the world is your boy Curtis Painter. That guy, he was hoping to never play down in his career. Now he'll never get a job because he is so bad. Nobody would ever sign him as a backup. Now the Colts know he's awful.
Yeah, no, I know. We'll get into Eli a little bit later on
Yeah.
in the 5 and 10 and talk a little bit about some developments with them. But all right, yeah. I mean, I think we agree on a lot of the surprising teams. I mean, we'll talk a little bit about the Buffalo Bills, Tom. Are you surprised at where they are?
Yeah, I'm shocked.
Still
where they are.
surprised.
They don't have many changes from last year's team, so it was a big shock for me to
Yeah.
see them doing so well. But they're gonna get a W this week.
Does it bother you when you see Aaron Maben
No, because that's only
run all over the field
what
he's
did he do?
O.C. Umenyiora?
Yeah, one sack. He threw his arms up in the air like he was God.
That guy flies.
Well, that's just one of his downfalls, though. He's very undersized for what he's trying to do.
He's got to be. Yeah.
You know, but he had one sack. He threw his arms up in the air and made a big deal about it.
So they're not a playoff team.
Buffalo?
Yeah.
No.
The
Not
one
yet.
thing that's saving grace with Buffalo
Not yet.
is there's not that wild card race we talked about it last week. Now you watch the Ravens can show that they're not even a good
Yeah.
team. I mean, you could list 15 teams. I mean, there's a few teams in that there's 15 teams. You can list 10 of them that have a shot of making the playoff, which is
quickly,
very rare.
How bad does Chris Johnson look?
Oh, there was a big question about his conditioning. This
But
week.
here's
I
the
was
thing.
reading
I'm
online.
tired of hearing, well, he didn't have a preseason. We're in week 7.
Yeah.
So that means
Something.
he should, at worst, be in week 3 of his season.
Yeah.
He's awful. He's awful. He's spent all his money already.
Yep.
And he better start saving because he's not going to have a job if he keeps running like this. He's awful.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. He's been brutal. Killed a lot of fantasy teams. Thank God I didn't have an early pick and I have to worry about that. Because people love him.
Unbelievable.
All right, we'll get back. We'll do the say what.
Let's do it. We'll be back with a Tri-State Sports, guys.